Okay, so now you're at the audition. What do you do? What do you do? Well, warm-ups is great. A great start. Now, even before you went in the building, you could have been sitting in your car doing warm-ups, doing vocal warm-ups. There are tons to get. You can research them online. Get the voice warmed up. That way you're not starting from scratch. You can even warm up physically at home and do things to get yourself prepared if there's a dance audition. And for a musical, there probably is, unless it's just an opera, and they may not have any sort of music or dance. But and when you're there, you can probably go off on your own somewhere and do some kicks or stretches or whatever it takes. In general, nobody really cares as long as you're not damaging the daisies. More so for people just starting out is that the vocal muscles, vocal cords, muscles, it's like anything. You don't want to go too far to where you're starting to wear things out and starting to talk too much or sing too much. I mean, there's a warm-up and then there's just there's a workout. And for most people, if you're not trained a long time, and even I don't want to go past the point where I know I'm starting to wear things out, don't kill yourself. There's a warm-up. But at some point, you're starting to kind of use up the resources which you're going to want to keep. So keep that in mind. Now, how nervous should you be? It's great if you can just not be nervous at all. Yeah, that's great, but how often does that happen? Who are you auditioning for? Well, the director, first and foremost, of course. A play or a musical, you're going to have the director. But now we're talking about musicals, so you're going to have the musical director. Maybe the conductor, which could be different from the vocal director. Sometimes it's one and the same person, but often it could be different. The director could be some of these roles too. If a director is a choreographer, a director is a musical director. But let's just say, in this case, you've got a director and then a separate person for a musical director. That person's probably at the audition too, listening to your singing, maybe a little more so than the director, although that still could happen. The choreographer's there too, so now we've got 3 people there. The producer, often producers like to show up too. They're producing it. They want to see who's in the cast or have a say who's in the cast. You've got 4 people. Other board members could be 5 people. The pianist, of course, is the 6th person. Chances are the pianist is not casting, but still, it's there. It's a person. So now you got 6 people. That's if it's a one person at a time audition. That's one type of audition. One person goes in, and you audition in front of those people, and then you come out and you're done. So you can be as nervous as you need to for that. You've got another type where you've got 5 people in there at a time. You've got 5, they called you in 5 names, you sat in 5 chairs, and one person stood up at a time and did their singing audition. So you've got the audience of now 4, plus the audience out there. It could be 4 to 6, so it could be 10 people. What can you do? Then you've got 10 people. You've got 10, and it could be any number in between these things as well. I'm just giving you what I've seen is the averages. 10 people, 10 chairs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. So you now got an audience of 10. And depending where you are, you've probably got to listen to some excellent singers before you and after you, or maybe you're the first person and don't know what to expect, or you're the last person and you've heard some great stuff or bad stuff, whatever. You just have to deal with that. And finally, I don't really see this much all these days, but I remember the times there were everybody inside that single room at one time, everyone's quiet, and one person goes up. So if there's 40 people auditioning, you're auditioning in front of those 40 people and the 6 people at the table. So you got 40, so you practically got an audience, the size of a small show. That can make people pretty nervous too. How do you get around that? Experience, I guess, and trying to kind of keep it balanced. You go in, you do your best, you think this is what I have to offer, you like it, great. If not, you just can't expect to be as good as the people on Broadway, right off. And if you are, then you should be on Broadway, not watching my video. There are things to also consider. Remember, this is a good chance to kind of strut your stuff if you're confident in it, and to kind of, sometimes when I'm auditioning, you kind of want to prove to other people that if they see your name on the callback list, you earned it to some degree. Again, if you're confident in your voice and you've done it a while, or think you're strong, which you should be confident, then you kind of get to use this opportunity to show off. That's a big benefit of it. Also, as well, you may have always wanted to do this one song in front of people and you never got the chance because they never cast you because of age or gender or whatever. Now's your chance. You pick the song. Chances are they're not going to look at it and say, you can't sing this song. You're not the right person for it. they're going to let you sing your song. So they may not let you finish it, but oh well, I can't do anything about that. But so you get this one chance to actually do the song, to perform it. And maybe some people will like it and say, wow, I never pictured it as someone like you before, but good job. So it's your one opportunity to play these roles for a split second in time that you've always wanted to play, but you never got afforded the opportunity to play. So think about that. Consider all that, and maybe that'll help keep the nerves down. I should mention to keep it real, meaning write down the roles you will accept. Do not write down roles you will not accept and then get offered those roles and then not accept them, because that can hinder your future, at that company. They may say, I'm not casting that person because he or she is a liar. People sometimes want to do that. People think, I don't want to seem like I'm picky, so I'm just going to write down, I'm going to write down, take everything, but I'll only actually take that one. And that can backfire, of course. And it can backfire in two ways, because you may be pretty good for a role like you may put for Sandy or Sally Struthers. I can't think of another name, but you may be good for Sally Struthers, and another person may be good for Sally Struthers. The director might think both people are pretty good for Sally, only you wrote down you'll take anything. She wrote down she'll take only Sally Struthers. So, I want to keep both sets of great talent in my show because they're both going to add a lot to my show. I will cast you as ensemble or whatever, girl number 5. And the other person is Sally Struthers. I get to keep both. Win-win. That's great. Even though you said you'd take ensemble, but you won't, and now you quit, and then it makes people frustrated. Whereas, who knows, maybe you could have had that part Sally Struthers if you had been honest about it. To add to that, if you go into your first audition with no experience and your audition, it's Les Mis and you're going to audition for Eponine and you've had no experience whatsoever, and that's the only role you wrote down, you're probably not going to, you may have an exceptional voice. I don't know you, but if you don't, you're probably not going to get the role. You're not going to get the experience of the show, which could help you, for your next show, your next audition, and help you grow, or just help you have fun. If you're doing this as well to have fun, then just being in the show could be its own sort of fun. If you've done Les Mis 1,000 times in your life and you're just tired of being all these other roles and you only want to be Eponine at that point, then yes, write it down. Because why not? If you know you're not going to have any fun without it, and there you go. So things to think about. Two, write down your conflicts. Don't lie about conflicts, because, I don't know, it's just, people worry again. And they're not going to cast me if I write down I got to be gone for an entire week. It's worse, I think, to get in a show and then say, I'm going to be gone for an entire week. Then you've just kind of, lied. It annoys everybody. A lot of people do have conflicts, and they do. This is no surprise to directors. It's not their first rodeo. They know people have lives, especially if it's volunteer theater. So don't just go in just thinking, I'm not having any conflicts, and then get cast and just say, I can't make the first 3 months and 1 week of performances. Just be honest, and it'll save so many headaches. And it's good to be known as an honest person. If you have too many, then they're not going to be able to cast you, but that is kind of the end game anyway, because if you do have too many and you don't write it and then you start to take it or whatever, you're either going to get dropped from the show, or they're going to let you know it's just not going to work out, and it's been a huge problem. Just be honest with the conflicts. Why not? Same thing if you are auditioning for other shows, because people do it. They audition for 2 shows and they haven't heard back from the first show, but they go to audition for the second show, or maybe they're both on the same day, morning and night. You got to be honest. If they usually will ask, are you auditioning for other shows? It doesn't always hurt casting. It can, but it also can't help. They might think, well, this person is pretty good. We want this person more than the other people. They're not going to be able to up the ante. It's not like they could say, we're going to give you an extra $1,000. Could, but they probably won't. But it's just honesty is the best way. If you're going to do this, you're going to spend so much time with people, there's going to be a lot of trust. So if you're already lying on these applications or these audition forms, trust is not a good place to start. Or not a good place. Trust is gone. Let's just put it that way. So if you do the vocal audition, which you probably will, and that will probably be at the main auditions, that in a dance audition, there's a couple things to keep in mind. First of all, when your number is called, you will go up and usually go to the pianist first. A man or woman at a piano, and they're sitting there. They pretty accomplished. They can play music. You give them music. Say, this is what I'm going to play. It should be kind of open. I mean, it can be turned pages, but it helps if it's kind of like spread out there before them. You put it down there and you talk it over with them. This is kind of casual time. You can't keep it like for an hour or anything like that, but you can take a minute or so, unless they tell you and you just do it real fast. You'll get instructions should that be the case. Talk to them and say, hey, I'm going to do it this way. This is where I start. This is where I stop. Here's the tempo. You kind of go over that. If you got a metronome, you can play the metronome. The person you're probably talking to right now is professional. I may not be on Broadway, but there's a good chance he or she has played music countless times and knows what he or she is doing. Just knows what they're doing. I'm not going to worry about that too much. Knows what they're doing. So trust in their abilities. Okay, you got that settled. You come under the X, there's just an extra plus or whatever. They'll tell you where to stand if you're in the wrong place. Introduce yourself. My name is so-and-so. I'm going to be singing this song from this musical if you want. Just this song is usually enough. And then you can kind of look over and nod, do whatever. If there's an intro, that person will start playing the intro. If there's questions, they'll ask you. Just relax. I mean, they're there to help you. And the more experience you get, the easier this will get by far. If you are so nervous you don't think you're going to remember your opening pitches or be able to gain it from the opening, the introduction, then yeah, you can ask for it ahead of time. Or even before you leave the piano, have them play a steady dun, and then keep it in the back of your mind. It's good to not hum it over and over again because you will actually shift the pitch if you do. But you kind of keep it in your mind, and that may help. Again, don't try not to do that just because you don't want to seem weak. I mean, if you need that, do that. It helps to start on pitch because if you can't get your pitch, that could cause a great deal of trouble for your song. Other than that, if it feels askew, it's all. A lot of times it's just you. I mean, you feel like it's not on. Forget about that. Don't worry about that. The piano player will match you. Avoid staring icy daggers over there at the pianist because chances are she or he is not the person with the problem there. It's you. You may be great, but chose the wrong music, or chose too difficult of music, or chose something that just doesn't work, or you've been practicing it in a different way than it's written. There's 100 different reasons. It doesn't help staring icy daggers. Just keep plowing on. The accompanist will come back to you, will follow you, and you're probably going to be okay. If you make a big deal of it, you're going to risk being seen as difficult or someone hard to work with because you like to blame others for problems. Just sing the song and do your best. It's hard for a director or a music director to think, wow, that wasn't perfect, because they know you just did it. You've had no rehearsals with this person ever. Relax. Now we mentioned 32 bars. It's 32 bars. If you get past that, and if you're singing something that just doesn't merit the fact that you've exceeded, I'm saying 32, if they said 32 on the audition form. If you're going past that, you just think you rock and you're the best singer since, gosh, I can't even think of his name. Puccini. I don't know. Doesn't matter. If you're the best singer in the world, and you just think, I gotta sing this entire song, don't be surprised if they cut you off. I've been cut off more times than I know what to do with. It's just they've got all they need at that point. It's not insulting. It's just kind of a benefit not to waste your time, not to waste their time, not to waste all the people waiting time. There's a lot of people kind of in the room or waiting. Let's not just do entire songs if we don't have to. So don't take it personally. They're just done. They've heard enough. It's not always bad either. It's good. It's like, this person can sing. Let's move on to the next person because we already know we're going to call that person back. Or it could be the opposite. It could, nothing. If after 32 bars it's not going right, chances are the next 32 is not going to change things whatsoever. So, and again, you might just be auditioning for an acting role anyway, so it's a moot point. Or a dancing role. Moot point. If they do ask you to sing something a second time or start over or whatever, there's a good chance there was a problem with it for whatever reason. It may not even be your fault, but just go with it. It's a second chance. This is especially good, during line readings, of course, so they just think, okay, try it this way now. So we've got something we can work with, try it this way. Think of it that way. We've got something we can work with, now let's try it this way. So it's not always bad. It can be, of course, but if you can repeat it, fine. Yeah, I've seen people ask to repeat. Can I sing the song again? And I've seen them also get turned down, thinking, no, it's fine. Don't, no. Yeah, you can. I mean, it's a free country. You can do whatever you want. But it just makes sure you can handle them saying, no. If you get to the point where it's just not working at all, they may say, you know what, let's just sing Happy Birthday. Or if you show up at an audition, it was the last moment, you've never done a musical before, you have no portfolio, and you do want to be in it, and you do want the acting role, and you do have to get past the singing thing, they might just say, just sing Happy Birthday. They'll give you a note, ding, Happy Birthday to you. So you sing Happy Birthday, and they say, okay, you can carry a pitch. Maybe that can be improved upon. Maybe you can't carry a tune at all, and they think, well, maybe that can be improved upon. Who knows? But Happy Birthday, I guess it's better than nothing. So, but you kind of have to go with that. So I've done the vocal audition, now the dance audition. Of course, this also could have been first. So what to expect? Expect it to be in groups. Often big groups, as big as the room can probably hold. If not, we'll put it in smaller groups, 16 at a time. But expect to be in groups, pretty large groups, and you may be able to stand in the back if you're kind of new and watch the people in front of you. But often they'll rotate lines, and next thing you know, you are in the front worried about people watching you. That's just part of it. Of course, the part that I hate is it often does go by pretty fast, probably too fast for a lot of people, especially if you're not a heavily trained dancer. You just think, this is too fast, I cannot memorize this fast. Because really it's the only time you're not asked to memorize lyrics very fast or lines very fast, and you usually get to read them. Read the lyrics or the lines from scripts, or have a lot of time to take them home and practice it. With dances, you ever realize that? It's totally different. You're just going to have nothing to go with except your memory. So you have to, it's been like giving a song, having to memorize that song really quickly and not have sheet music to look at. Well, that's the dance part. It almost seems unfair. Time and training may help that, especially if you're serious about it and work really hard on it. But for some people, like me, it never gets much easier. Some of the simple steps do. If you know the simple steps and simple combinations, then when they try and put them together and you know the names, that can help. But it's often a lot of work. So again, it goes by pretty fast. You may think this is too fast, but you also may think that in the first one, this thing doing 3 box steps or whatever, and then pivot turns, and you just think, this is crazy. I'm never going to be able to do this. And then years go by, and you just think, box steps, really? That's it? Some pivot turns? Okay, it's not like maxi fours and triple time steps. I can handle that. And then again, more years might pass. You might be serious in dancing and just think triple time steps and maxi fours. And nothing is hard about the dance audition at that point, which is great. More power to you. That's not me, by any means. And again, of course, non-dancers still must do it. So you'd say, hey, I'm a singer, I'm an actor, I'm not a dancer. You're still going to be there because, the dancers have to be at the vocal audition, the actors have to be at the musical. I mean, it's just the way it is. You just got to do all three, got to see who can do what. Just good to know, and it's really good for you too. It's like your vegetables. It's good for you. Just do it and don't complain, at least externally or to them. You can complain to other people if you have to. Ask questions. They'll give you the opportunity usually, okay, to ask them questions. I mean, if you say, can you repeat everything, then that's probably not going to work. But if there's 1 or 2 steps that's just not gelling or not connecting, then, ask the questions, get those repeated, get them to break it down. They're usually, for the most part, most choreographers, and let's say, and I've actually had 1 or 2 that just did not seem to like me. They just thought, you do not belong here. Fair enough. But years go by, and for the most part now, I think they're just like, we want you to do well. We want you to succeed. That is, to me, it seems to be the norm at this point. But they'll try and help you. They'll do their best. Watch other people that do seem to be getting it, and then just do your best. I mean, that's all you can do. And I would say if nothing else is working, just smile. If you don't know the dance, just smile greatly. Put on such a stage presence on the upper half that they don't even want to look at your lower half. Now, if you are a good dancer and your lower half does a pretty good job, then for your upper body, same exact thing. Put on a big smile and put all the stage presence so they may not even look at your lower half. And you got to do that either way. But this way you have a pretty good shot, or at least it can help. Not always. The choreographer is probably going to look at what the feet are doing, especially if it's like tap or something. But then again, if your feet are doing exactly what you want it to, but your face is kind of grumpy, then they may not cast you just based on that. It's like, what good is the person if there's no stage presence? Stuff to think about. Now what'll happen, of course, is they'll pare it down. All of a sudden your group of 32 is now 16, it's now 8, it's now 4. Often doesn't get below 4, but it could. It could be down to 2, could be down to 1. That would be pretty scary, especially if nobody is there, because you're probably not going to have the choreographer there at the final part to, perform in front of you, so you can watch that person. You're probably going to have to actually have memorized it. It seems unfair because the music didn't have to be memorized, the lines didn't have to be memorized, but the dance does. But that is just the way. That's the way it is. Now, as far as readings go, I find it's not too common to have readings at the first audition. That is a day to just get the people to sing their songs and to do some dancing, and then at that point, go away. We'll call back the people we want to read. Which, again, may seem unfair. It's like, I'm a great reader, but not a singer-dancer. They're not stupid. They can probably figure that out by your resume, or you look the role, whatever you fit the character. There's a good chance they'll have you come back and read if that's the case, even if you blow the vocal audition or the dance audition. So if you do get the reading, you'll get sides, and you'll be able to read that. But we'll talk about that in the callback. So watch that in the callback video to know what to expect, just in case you do have the readings at the audition video. You can watch all the videos before you even go to your first audition. At this point, just go home, forget about it. Once they've dismissed you, they say, we don't like you. Well, at the original auditions, usually when you're done, you're done. You've done your singing, you've done your dancing, there's nothing more to do. They'll say, all right, you can take off. It's usually kind of obvious. When in doubt, ask. But you're done. You go home. You forget about it. In the olden days, there would have been a phone recording with a lot of a message, just a long message with the people. Nowadays, often it's an email. Email has probably supplanted most of this stuff. So instead of a phone message or a phone call, you'll get an email saying, hey, great job. We can't use you this time, but please come back. That is so common. Or B, hey, great job. We'd like you to come back and read for these roles and sing for these roles. And here is the music. Here are links to the music. Here are the links to the sides, all that stuff. Often you will get them. Sometimes they say, hey, print them out and bring them in. You can save the company some money. Theater companies usually don't have bank to print a bunch of material. So if you can, do that. Plus, you're going to be working on it all week anyway, obsessing over it, so you might as well have it printed out. So that is the audition for musicals. The audition for plays is on here too, so watch that and you can see what there are some differences, but it helps to know both, just because you never know what you're going to want to see and think, I want to audition for that. All right,